You know, I remember a few months ago when I was talking about the silver market and the things that are transpiring, taking place in it, along with all the manipulation that is going on. I mean, we see what's going on with the so-called regulatory agencies. We see that they're just about as good as the so-called benevolent word of the federal government, which ain't too good at all. But I remember saying, you know, put some cash back, put some cash back, put some cash back. You know, if you want to buy a little here, buy a little there, but put some cash back because there's another buying opportunity coming. And believe you me, I listen to a lot of people like many of you do. You know, Big Swear, Bob Chapman, just to name a few. Jim Rogers, you know, people who present themselves on here. I listen to them too. And a lot of times when the experts speak, you know what I mean, we want to kind of lean on them because they so-called experts. But I remember Bob Chapman believing that J.P. Morgan has already done heavily sold out. They're finished with their short position. He doesn't believe that silver is going to go down to $25 or $20 or anywhere in the mid-20s or something like that. 30 is kind of like the benchmark in the line. And when I heard that, I kind of like, I said, because, hey, I'm not as informed. I mean, I'm not an expert. And I'm by no means necessary. And now listen to me, believe you me. I am definitely not here to impugn the character of Bob Chapman just because I mentioned his name. The man knows what he's talking about, a whole lot more experience than I am. I'm just a simple old country pastor farm boy, that's it. But I do have a little bit of understanding. And just because I have a little bit of understanding, I actually use that understanding. And I think that the buying opportunity of a lifetime, which we may see as our last one, is here. I just got finished getting off the phone with old J. Snip 4, and him and I was talking. And we both agree to the sentiments that it's going a lot lower. If you even go back to my videos, you heard me say over and over and over again, I wish that they would crash it down to $5 an ounce. Now, do I ever believe it's going to do that? No, because why? I mean, I was a buyer at 40. I'm a buyer at 35. I was a buyer at 30. I'm a buyer at 20. I'm a buyer at 15. I just buy silver. And I've always told you it's a long-term investment. And if you can't stand all the volatility that's going on within the markets, the ups and downs, if you don't have the stomach for it, you should have never gotten in the first place. You buy it, you put it in the safe, forget about it. And when I mean forget about it, for 3 to 5 years, forget about it. Just forget about it. Just knowing that it's there, that you have money. You can take worthless cash that is not worth anything to actually buy something that is tangible and is an asset. So what's going on right now? Well, the movers and shakers are destroying the markets. You keep hearing it over and over again, some type of world reserve currency. And that world reserve currency has got to be backed up. It must be backed up by a tangible asset. It must be backed up by gold and silver. We're going back on the silver standard and the gold standard, whether you like it or not. So I said, well, Pastor, how can you be so sure of that? Because of that Bible. The Bible doesn't say in the last days, coming to the salvation purposes, that you're going to throw Federal Reserve notes in the street. It says that your gold and silver is not going to be able to deliver you in the coming of the day of the Lord. That's the time frame. That means that gold and silver is going to be a medium of exchange all the way up until that time frame. And that's just the truth. And that's the true straight way. Now, but the powers that be, what they're doing is they're shaking everything they can. They're shaking them out of the trees. They're shaking all the people. Hey, they're destroying commodities left and right. Oil, gold, silver, wheat, corn. They're destroying them all. Why? Because they do this because they control, they manipulate the markets. You know that. The CFTC is no good. They just about as good as a thief. But anyway, they're shaking everybody out. Why? And all you people who don't have a heart and stomach, they're shaking it out so they can go in and swipe up and buy everything. Listen to Pastor Dial for a second. If there's anything you need to remember is this: nothing has changed. They tell us that we're $16 trillion in debt, but the truth is we're more like $104 trillion in debt, especially when you include unfunded liabilities. Some people will say 60 or 70. No, not the way that debt clock going up. They torn around with you the same way they do with unemployment. We're looking at a buying opportunity of our life right now. We really, truly are. I went into a coin shop the other day, and they had 2011 Silver Eagles marked $11 over spot. Well, you can forget that. You can go to APMEX now and get them for $5 over spot. But I've told you that an investment opportunity, it is coming. This is the time to buy, because you're probably not ever going to see this again. They're going to tank it down. They're going to make it crash hard like a 2-ton heavy stick. Then all the movers and shakers going to come in with their little money. Because remember, central banks are stacking gold and silver themselves. The greatest creditor nation now, which is China, is teaching their citizens gold and silver. India, gold and silver. All the rest of the bankrupt countries, they still trying to get people to trust in a fiat system. The euro. Look at the euro. The dollar. Man, come on. You got to be out of your mind. No. You take the money that you get, you buy tangible assets, and then you hold. You squat and you hold. You know, I hate to sit up here and say that, you know, Bob Chapman is literally wrong because, you know, when you become an expert at something, it's hard for you to receive information from another source because the one thing you always depend upon is your past experience. I mean, I'll give you an example. You know, I was a paratrooper in the United States Army for 10 years. But I do know this because I have sense to know this, that I've been out of it almost 20 years. And so the technology that we were dealing with then has drastically changed, at least 5-10 times over. So there's no way I could go back in the military with the same mindset, not knowing the technology that is up today and still have the same understanding. And that's what a lot of people need to learn. Just because you've done something for a long period of time does not mean you're an expert. You were an expert at that time, but that does not mean that you're still a subject matter expert, especially if you're missing some of the calls. Again, I'm just bringing forth a point of reality. I still listen to Bob Chapman, but hey, isn't that the beauty about being an American? You can agree to disagree, but I'll tell you one thing I'm doing. I'm going to keep on buying. I'm going to keep on stacking because, you know, you look at the paper market, which is a set of price 100 times of the values of goods and services that you can actually obtain in this society, in this country right here. You don't need, most people, you don't even know it's manipulated. But commodities, gold and silver, right now, they're taking their little hammering, and that's good. For us, it's a buying opportunity. But I'm telling you right now, the powers that be, what they're going to do, the handwriting's on the wall. They're going to crash this market down even more so. They're going to use it as a buying opportunity because they don't buy on highs. They buy on lows. You and I are not the Congress of the United States of America. We don't get insider trader secrets to where we can actually advance our self-worth and our wealth. Like the Senate and the House of Representatives, we don't have insider trader secrets. We don't know what's going to happen the next day so that we can make a few dollars ourselves. Because the system uses us, the people, we the people, to make money off our backs. And they basically view us all as a bunch of slaves. Well, I hope, I really truly do, I hope that you use this as an opportunity to watch. I'd buy a little bit right now because it's falling. Get you a few ounces, and then when you detect, see that bottom, and then as soon as you see it start heading back north the other way, that's when you know you better get in because from there it's going on to the moon.